Hey, it's Tim from Semach David, and this isn't something I usually do, but it's mostly Shabbat now, and on Friday I watched something that was pretty disturbing online, and I wanted to respond to it. I was tempted to respond to it anyway. I decided ultimately that I'm not going to respond directly to the video because I think the issue is something much bigger and maybe a more interesting topic, and really something that's much more simple to respond to. And it's the question of, what about all those Jews who aren't following Yeshua? Forget about, are they foolish, God forbid, are they stupid, God forbid, they don't have some kind of deep understanding like I have, God forbid. But something much worse than that, really, which is this kind of feeling or this thought, which is pretty common in Christianity, and unfortunately it's really common among Jewish Christians and Messianic Jews. And that's that Jewish people who aren't believers in Jesus, who have passed on, are burning in hell, God forbid. Even approach somebody with the question about, what about all those holy martyrs who died in the Holocaust and the Shoah? Where are all those people? Where are all those souls? And unfortunately and unbelievably, the answer is, these people are going to be giving, is that they're somewhere suffering, God forbid. And I just wanted to encourage everyone who maybe is on the fence about this issue, or maybe knows that that answer isn't right, but they're not sure about what the right answer is. And I just want to bring some clarity, if I can, with God's help. Actually, I'm not bringing the clarity that's coming from Moshe Rabbeinu himself and others. It starts out, Moses found himself in a situation like this. Found himself in a situation where, at least it appears, the people of Israel are dancing around a golden cow, and Hashem is seemingly ready to destroy the people of Israel. At least that's what Moses fears. We can look this up. It's in Exodus, in the 32nd chapter of Exodus, and if we go to verse 31, 32, we see Moshe Rabbeinu's response. This is the high point of his life, really. It says right here, it says, "And Moshe returned to the Lord, and he said, 'Oh, this people has sinned a great sin, and they've made them gods of gold. Yet now, if you'll forgive their sin, and if not, blot me out, I pray, out of your book which you've written.'" And that absolutely needs to be the heart of every single Jew, and of any person who understands himself as being someone after God's heart, that when we see someone who we're connected with, Klal Yisrael, if we see God's people doing something that we believe is negative, and Hashem himself is ready to destroy them, our answer needs to be, if you're going to kill them, blot my name out of your book. And we see that if anyone disagrees with this or thinks maybe something changed, after Yeshua died for everyone's sins. Maybe somehow the situation got worse. Paul, what does Paul say? Paul in Romans chapter 9, verse 3, let me read it. English Standard Version. "For I could wish that I myself were accursed and cut off from Mashiach for the sake of my brothers, my kinsmen according to the flesh." So he says, if Israel isn't going to be saved, if that's not going to ultimately happen, then I would rather desire that I myself was cut off from Mashiach, if that's going to be the ultimate end. So Moses and Paul have this perspective. Hashem's wanting to destroy the nation of Israel, as it seems, and Moshe Rabbeinu is so brave that he says, if you take them out, then take me out. And Paul says, if that's going to be the ultimate end, if it's going to mean the destruction of Israel, let me be cut off from Mashiach. So Moshe says, Hashem, if you mean the destruction of Israel, then take me with everybody else. And Paul says, if Mashiach means the destruction of Israel, then let me be cut off from him. Let me be accursed. Let me suffer. Someone has to do it. Yeah? And so is there really any question about Yeshua? Is there really any question about whether Yeshua is the kind of guy who says, over my dead body? It seems to me that he prayed a prayer for even the people who were involved in wanting to see him dead. He said, forgive them. He doesn't just say forgive them. He's called the advocate of the brothers. He makes a legal argument on their behalf. He says, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. So it seems to me that any follower of Mashiach, it seems to me that any Jew, you wish you had a rabbi like this, right? Somebody's dancing around Golden Cow and they're not even sure. You can see in the text, it seems like maybe there's some confusion whether the cow is a replacement for Moshe, or maybe the cow is a replacement for Hashem. Maybe they've gotten the two confused. Anyway, they're dancing around this statue, and nevertheless, the Rav of that community is saying, if you destroy them, destroy me. If you destroy them, blot my name out of your book. Paul's saying, if ultimately Mashiach means the end of the Jewish people, then ultimately I'd rather be accursed and cut off from Mashiach for my brothers. And I think it's quite clear what the heart of Yeshua is. So when somebody asks the question, where are the Jewish people at? The people who have perished, the people who weren't following Jesus, who they never knew in the first place. Where are those people at? Are they burning in hell? The answer has to be, over my dead body. It can't be, oh, those foolish rabbis, God forbid. It's arrogant. It can't be, it's unfortunate, but it has to be over my dead body. It has to be, if that's the intention, then blot my name out of your book. It has to be, I wish that I would be accursed and cut off from Yeshua, if that's the case. If he's not going to suffer for an atonement for Israel, then I want to. I want to do whatever my suffering's worth, whatever change I can bring in the nation. So, anyway, I think that's the bigger problem. And if maybe you've been teetering, or you've heard some nonsense about how everyone's damned to hell, I think you should read those writings again. And I think you should reflect on Exodus chapter 32, especially verse 31 through 32. Look at Romans 9:3. Consider what Paul said, and look at the heart of Mashiach himself and see that that's absolutely wrong. And if that's your approach, it's absolutely wrong. And if you're not Jewish, if you're not Christian, maybe your interaction has been with religion of people who are extremely judgmental, and you've seen your own friends dancing around whatever golden cow they have in their life. Maybe it's homosexuality, maybe it's, I don't know, whatever it is, whatever you can come up with. And you've seen people who have responded by saying those people are burning in hell. and you just know deep down inside yourself that it's wrong and you can't accept it, realize that the approach of the Torah and the approach of, honestly, authentic Christianity isn't to say dancing around the golden cow is okay. It's to say, I'm connected with these people, and Hashem, if you want to destroy them, blot my name out. That's the right attitude. That's the attitude of Mashiach. And by the way, if you read the story, you'll see that Hashem is ultimately pleased with Moshe Rabbeinu for this kind of attitude. He's pleased with Paul when he has this kind of attitude. He's pleased, obviously, with the work of Mashiach when he has this kind of attitude over my dead body. And I'll stand in the gap for these people, and I'll argue. Abraham, I'll argue with Hashem for the sake of sinners, for the sake of people who are even wicked, even people who are actually wicked. What about those people who are righteous and falsely accused? Shavua Tov.